Well, hello, class. I want to welcome you to what would be week 6 here at Fruitland Baptist Bible College. And listen, I'm so sorry that I can't be on campus with you. We're actually in the middle of moving right now to head across the state to Pittsburgh Baptist Church to begin work there, which means that I'm not going to be able to meet with you on campus for the duration of the quarter. And of all the places that I'm moving and all the things that I'm moving from, I just want to say Fruitland is going to be the one I miss the most. Like I told you, Fruitland Bible College has been a part of my life since I was 18 years old. So for the better part of 15 years, I've had footprints on the campus, and whether that was as a student or on a board or as a faculty member. It's been a real emotional week, and we can covet your prayers. But what we're going to do is we're going to move our class online. And I know that that's not what you signed up for. It's not what I signed up for either for the quarter, but I promise you come 302, things are going to be much better for you because you're going to have a new teacher. And I'm really excited about him stepping in, and I'm excited for what lies ahead for Fruitland Bible College, especially in the youth ministry department. So I do hope to keep in touch with you, and I do hope to be on campus through in future times, and maybe through a chapel service every now and then, maybe as a sub too. But regardless, though, I wanted to just take some time to share with you, and you'll see several of these videos come up throughout. I know that we're a bit behind. We're actually 2 weeks behind because we had the convention this past week, so we missed a week. So now we're really behind. But I want to go ahead and do what would be week 6's lesson. And so I want you to pay attention to your notes. This is a lesson on fellowship, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here on video for you. I know that you've got a lot of things to do, and I know you've got a lot of work to catch up on, but I just wanted to take a few moments and talk to you about that word fellowship. Oftentimes in ministry, we think that fellowship is limited to a meal or limited to, just a church gathering, a social gathering, something like that. So I think fellowship's a bit more than that. And in youth ministry, your fellowship is a vital part of the unity of your ministry and the unity of your students, the togetherness of your students, but also it's going to help and benefit every other facet of the ministry with you. So I want to talk to you about doing life together in fellowship. Just a few things I want you to keep in mind, and then we're going to close out for the day. One is this: that fellowship must be purposeful, meaning that you have to take the time to be with your students and your students with one another. And you can plan fellowship. You can't make it happen. You can't manufacture it. You can't force students to love each other, to like each other. But I will say this: fellowship has to be on purpose, and you have to do things along the way and plan things along the way that would encourage, that would stir up fellowship with other students. Ecclesiastes 4 is one of the scriptures I want you to pay attention to. 9 and 10 talks about how a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. You can with 2, you lie down together, you protect one another, you walk together. And you rest together. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Acts chapter 2, when you look at the model of the church, the original model of the local church, fellowship was one of the hallmarks, one of the signature marks of the early church. They were known by their fellowship. They were known by the love that they had one another. So what does that mean? If we're going to be on purpose with our fellowship with our students, that means that students should know one another. And so here's something that I like to do in class. I hate that we're not going to get to do it in class, but I usually take a ball of yarn, and I'll pass it across the room, and I'll say my name, and then the person that catches it says their name, and then I'll ask a funny question, something for them to, maybe their favorite color, their favorite book of the Bible, current struggle, or a praise report, something like that. They'll take the ball and they'll pass it across the room to another person. They have to say the name of the person they pass it to. The person that catches it will say your name. The one that called it will say the name of the person that passed it to them and the thing that they said. and then they'll add to it. Before you know it, you've got the yarn going all over the place, and everybody's got a piece. You're supposed to hold on to your piece of yarn. The point of that is to say that, that cord of three bands is not easily broken, and also neither should be our fellowship. We should know one another. Encourage students to get to know each other on a first name basis. Encourage students to get to know one another deeper than just, hey, how are you doing? Or I'm doing good, I'm doing fine, that kind of thing. Get them together and encourage them to sit next to different students. In leadership, you've got to teach students to mingle amongst one another. So students should love one another or care for one another, know one another. Students should care for one another. Another thing is students should hold each other accountable. But listen, in fellowship, that's part of it. In fellowship, holding one another accountable is a part of your unity as a group. But accountability is not just necessarily me always watching over your shoulder to see where you stumble, to see where you fall. That's not what fellowship is. Real fellowship is when you genuinely care about the person, in so much that if you see something in their life that's not honoring to God, or you see something that doesn't look so good, on their part, if you see something that is going good, if you're in a Bible study together and they haven't showed up, or you've been commenting on your little Bible app and you've been writing down comments to the scripture, but you notice one's not really interjecting, maybe holding each other accountable says, hey, I've missed you. I care about you. I just want to know how you're doing. Another thing is that students should encourage one another. So you as a youth leader, you've got to provide opportunities for you to encourage one another, whether that's card writing, giving a call, sending a text, sending a gift, or just I thought of you today message. All those things are going to help. Students should be open to share and pray with one another. That's fellowship. Okay. That's fellowship. Something else though, fellowship also must be protected. Fellowship must be protected. I've been in youth ministry, youth groups where that fellowship was not protected. And Satan certainly capitalizes when students are upset with each other, when their parents are upset with each other, when gossip starts, or there's betrayal in the group, things that all kids go through. When those things happen, you've got to protect it. You are a shepherd. Okay. As a minister of the gospel, you are a shepherd, including to those students. Okay. And a shepherd holds a rod, and a shepherd has a staff. So meaning that you are fending off the enemy. Satan wants to destroy your youth group, and he wants to destroy your fellowship, and he wants to destroy the good things that are going on. So fellowship has to be protected. Fellowship also must be pursued. Fellowship must be pursued. So I want to share with you just some final tips here with how you can pursue fellowship with your youth group. Every student should feel needed in the group, and every student should feel needed and wanted. That's part of protecting and pursuing fellowship in the group. Letting your students know on a name-to-name basis, on a week-to-week basis, how important they are, how much you love them, how glad you are to see them. That's something that one of my former students, Dwayne, does so well. I learned from him. He makes sure that every student that comes into the youth room is received with a touch, whether that be on the shoulder or a high five, or either a side hug. They are known. They know that he loves them. He cares about them. Same thing with prayer requests. He goes around the room every single Wednesday night and he asks each student, how can I pray for you? Is there anything that's on your mind, on your heart? He just wants them to know, I care about you. So every student should feel needed. Every student should feel wanted. And what's even better is when you're not the one that's doing those things, but it's the students who are initiating that fellowship. Okay. When you nurture somebody, to nurture them means that you're helping them grow in their relationship with God. So you're providing an environment that encourages that growth. So here's some things that should help that and encourage that. Students should receive information for growth. Students should receive phone calls. Students should receive contact from their peers and should contact their peers. They need to keep their parents informed. And together as a group, you should experience spiritual things, God moments, where you're together and that fellowship is encouraged and increased. I'm talking about when you're having a good time. I'm also talking about those deep and dark moments too, where students are really struggling in their faith, in their relationship with God, and in their in their personal lives. So I encourage you, keep people up to speed, keep people up to date, do all that you can to make people feel wanted and needed and informed. All right. That goes for the parents, that goes for the students. It's only going to encourage your fellowship. I want to close out with this thought. Okay. The overall goal of fellowship is that students become family and they participate and share in one another's life. That is the goal of fellowship. So when you're doing your, when fellowship is being programmed or fellowship is being planned out, I know you can't make it happen, but you can prepare for it. Okay. Do it, encourage fellowship in your welcome. Encourage fellowship in your worship, encourage fellowship in your Bible study, encourage fellowship in the wisdom that you are sharing. All of these things are essential to encouraging fellowship. Do not overlook the fellowship factor in your student ministries. All right. Hey, I'm going to be sending more videos out through this week. So please make sure that you're on the student portal, that you are engaged, so that we can finish this quarter out strong. We've got several more weeks to go, and I want you to do the best that you can. If I can help you with anything, please let me know. Okay. God bless you all.